Winter is a bitch. And one of the only things that makes it better are winter fragrances because they tend to be sweeter, yummier, thicker. And I always want all of those things. These short days, this terrible weather, it's weighing on me. And I'm relying on all these winter fragrances to get me through. I'm going to share the fragrances that I'm wearing, that I love, that I think are winter worthy and hold up in very cold weather. Because here I am in Alberta in the dead of winter, struggling to get by. And I'm going to share the fragrances in my collection that can handle that shit. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around and let's get into it.
Baby, can you give me just a little bit more of what I've been missing? We got time to...
Hi, I'm Jeanique and I love a category as much as I love a fragrance, and in today's video I have created 3 collections here that let me share a variety of different types of fragrances with you, so I'm not just sharing 12 different thick vanilla fragrances. We have the Naughty or Nice collection, we have the Cocos and Cream collection where we'll have all of those beautiful yummy gourmands, and we have a Save or Splurge collection. So I give you different options at different fucking price points. Now, if that sounds like your thing, you love a perfumey conversation, don't forget to subscribe. And if you already done so, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You're a real one, and you subscribe to Badass Bitches because you are one too. Yes, you are. Now, let's talk some fragrances. Winter fragrances, y'all. I'm ready. Are you?
Besides about you and me, baby, can you give me just a little bit more of what I've been missing?
Start off with a Naughty or Nice collection because it'll be more fun to do so. And yes, even though it's more fun to be naughty, it's less of a headache to be nice. So we're both during the winter season. So let's start off with the naughty fragrances, really like darker, heavier, so a little bit more sultry fragrances for those date nights out. Now let's start off with a good one, y'all, and it is Sea Intense from Armani. Now this has been recently reformulated, but it's pretty easy to find this one on discount websites or on Amazon or wherever. If I find a link to it, I will link it. Anyway, this is a fantastic fragrance, and here is why. If you like the Sea line, this is a more intense, sort of darker, more brooding, sexier sea fragrance, and I love that because it brings together this sort of moderate rose, nothing too young and fresh, nothing too old-fashioned Victorian and musty, something in the middle that is discernible, adding a little bit of complexity to the fragrance, but it's still fire, right? The blackcurrant. Now I love blackcurrant. It's juicy, it is sweet, it's a dark fruit, a little supple, it's rich, it is layered. I love the smell of blackcurrant, and it is in here heavy. Now, the things that might turn you off if this is not your vibe, it has a moderate patchouli. It's not super dirty, but it isn't a clean, sort of slightly green patchouli. No. It comes through, especially as the fragrance starts to die down. Most of the just wonderful work being done in this fragrance is from the benzoin. It thickens it, it warms it up, it makes it feel ambery and lovely and really, really heavy. And it works great in the wintertime for that exact same reason. It's a sexy fragrance. It's sweet, it is flirty, it is floral, it is stunning, and most of all, I think, is that it smells distinct and smells really, really lovely. It really performs well because of that benzoin, because of the patchouli, and because of the rose, really heavy notes coming together to create something really nice, that it works during the winter season and continues to do well because it is not a subtle fragrance by any means. Now, our final naughty fragrance is one of my absolute favorites, y'all, and it is Jimmy Choo's Illicit, a highly underrated fragrance that is incredibly sexy, but sexy in that way where you're not trying to impress anybody else, you're doing it for yourself. You know what I mean? Just a beautiful, round, supple fragrance that isn't too sweet, isn't too heavy, it's just the right amount of everything. So let's talk about what this fragrance is giving y'all. Now, the main note in this fragrance is amber, right? Just a really full, warm, really pretty amber, really approachable amber that is sweetened by honey. Now, honey can be a little bit of an off-putting note. It can come with a little bit of animalic touch. It can come through kind of like icy and cold. Not in this. It's sort of sweetening the amber pot, making it just even more inviting. There's a really creamy sandalwood in this fragrance. This fragrance is not sweet. It has hints of sweetness, but it's not nearly as sweet as Sea Intense with that black currant. In here, we have a bitter orange, more bitter than sweet orange coming through with that. The main floral note in this, they say jasmine. I would say it's close to like an orange blossom. It's creamy, but it is very subtle in this fragrance. This is mostly amber sandalwood with a little bit of honey, feeling feminine, but grown and sexy. But again, sexy for yourself, not sexy trying to impress or attract anybody else. There's a really self-assured fragrance that feels really confident and lovely and works beautifully in the winter time when you want to smell sophisticated without, I don't know, reading ultra feminine, ultra girly. This gives that and then some. One of my absolute favorite fragrances for winter. That amber is giving everything that it needs to give, and all of the florals, everything else playing background, is just adding to a beautiful blend that makes this smell incredibly sophisticated without trying too hard. Yeah. Now let's get into these nice fragrances, and I wanted to take you in a completely different direction with the first recommendation that I have for winter. And it might be a little bit of a surprise because it might feel like a more summery or springtime fragrance, but Britney Spears Fantasy is an all year round fragrance. People underrate this gem right here, but even from the notes you can tell it's about to be fire. I'm going to take you through this fragrance, right? Let's start off with the quince. I love quince in fragrances. It's a little bit citrusy, watery, a little sweet. Lovely. There's kiwi and lychee, so giving a lot of tropical vibes in the full fruitiness that we get in this fragrance. We get a couple of gourmand notes, right? We get cupcake and we get white chocolate. Creamy, delicious smelling. It smells like a baked good. It is beautiful in this fragrance, right? And then we have an unexpected orris root in this fragrance. They could have gone iris, but they didn't. They gave us orris root, which tends to be a little bit earthier and a little bit greener, but still just holds on to that powderiness, that cloud-likeness that we get from an iris note, right? It is a beautiful addition because it helps to make this fragrance even more dynamic and interesting as you wear it. This is a mood boost, a mood pick-me-up, and it is so criminally underrated because it is a celebrity fragrance. Fuck 'em. It costs like $20 and it smells real good. And if you're looking for a sweet-ass winter fragrance, consider Britney Spears Fantasy, because it could rock your world the way it rocks mine. Okay? See, because I am nice, y'all, because I am nice, I gave you another cheapie in the nice category, right? And it is the boss himself, Hugo Boss, with Deep Red. Now, if you love a floral fragrance, right, at Tuberose, this is one of my favorite Tuberose fragrances, and I stack Tuberose fragrances like my life depends on them. I stay collecting them. I really do, because I'm just attracted to Tuberose fragrances, honestly, truly. And this is no exception, except this is better than a lot of them, except it is also cheaper than a lot of them. Let's talk about this one and why I love it, because also it has ginger, and y'all know how I feel about ginger, right? So we get tuberose. This is the base of this fragrance. It is heavy, it is thick, because of it's mostly floral leaning, right, with everything else sort of playing a secondary position. It makes it really great for like a work setting, an evening with the in-laws. It is a very sort of traditional fragrance in a lot of ways. It isn't too loud and overwhelming. It is just a beautifully blended floral fragrance. Now, the fruit notes in here, we have things like clementine, so a little bit of sweet citrusness. We have some pear, doing what pear does, beautiful work, right? We have some woodiness from cedar, and we have a little bit of spice, so a little bit of something extra in the form of ginger in this fragrance. But the ginger doesn't come through really heavy and really loud. It's just, like I said, a nice accompaniment to make the fragrance a little bit more complex and dynamic. But if you, like me, love a really full, creamy tuberose fragrance with hints of sweetness and woodiness with a little sprinkle of ginger, this might be your vibe, especially since this usually sells at a really inexpensive price. And it's time to get into some stunning gourmand fragrances, and I'm excited to share some of my faves with you for the winter time. So this is my cocoa and cookies collection. Fragrances inspired by creamy hot Christmas drinks, as well as hot steamy Christmassy baked goods. Let's start off with the drinks, right? It feels a little obvious, but we're gonna start off, y'all, with Commodity Milk Expressive. I know it's obvious because the name is milk already, but it is a stunning and beautiful fragrance for the winter time. I recently did a review of this fragrance in my I just bought 21 Sephora fragrances and this is what I think video. Y'all should check that out. I will link it. In that video, I point out how long lasting this fragrance was and how shocked I was by the performance, because some other commodity fragrances, not naming names, just did not perform as well, and this one was a beast mode fragrance even in wintertime. Now, what is this? It's milk, marshmallow. I think there's some woodiness in the form of maybe mahogany, something with like a darker sort of backing to it that gives almost like a coffee-esque kind of note, just a little bit heavier. And I think it is mahogany that is in here. And it is really, really beautiful. There's some tonka for some added creaminess and heaviness to this fragrance. It is so beautiful. It is creamy. It is thick, it is dark, rich, it's sweet. That marshmallow kind of gives a little bit of like a pillowiness and sweet sort of air to it. It is really lovely. If you want to smell like marshmallow milk with a hint or a splash of coffee, just made even bigger and bolder because, you know, it's a perfume. Hey there. Hi. Yeah, it's me. Just stopping by real quick to say, have you subscribed yet? Don't be a meanie. The subscribing is free. The like is motherfucking free. So go ahead and do it. And now let's get back to the video because important things. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people on the internet would disagree with me that the next fragrance is better than Commodity Milk Expressive, but y'all can't fight me on it. Y'all not gonna win. It is YSL's Black Opium Le Parfum, one of the best vanillas, best gourmand vanillas on the market, in my opinion, hands down, period. Now, this is all the vanillas. It's Madagascar vanilla, there is Vanilla Absolute, there is bourbon vanilla, there is all the vanilla. You might get a little overwhelmed. Now, I know a lot of people who find this fragrance to be a little bit too loud, a little bit too thick, a little bit too heavy. They are not a fan. They find this fragrance to be a little aggressive. Now, for me, there's no such fucking thing. There's just no such thing. You can't get too vanilla, too heavy, too thick, too interesting for me ever. And this fragrance just does wonders for me. No, it has a little bit of a sprinkling of like a little bit of floral element. There's a little bit of jasmine, a little bit of orange blossom in here. There is a very clean patchouli in the base. How it functions though is not very patchouli-esque. It's like it adds like a little bit of coldness to the fragrance at the top of it. So when you first spray it, that first 30 minutes feels a little like ice cream versus like hot cocoa, right? Like the vibe of it, the texture of it, the feel of it is very kind of cool, and you sort of break through that, and then you just sort of swim in this warm, thick, heavy, dark vanilla goodness. It's so sweet, it is so lovely, it is so fire. I tell you that this is the optimal, or when I think about winter fragrances and what they're supposed to give, it's this. Only like an eggnog adjacent fragrance could like be more wintry for me. We just did cocoa. Let's get into cookies. And there is an obvious choice in this category, and it has to be Jo Malone's Ginger Biscuit. Now, I left a whole like 6-minute long love note to Ginger Biscuit in that Sephora video I mentioned earlier and that I linked. And so I won't spend too long talking about this fragrance because y'all know how I feel. This fragrance and I were made for one another. It's love, y'all. It's real. It really is. Now, this is a gingery roller coaster that smells like the Christmas holidays. So let's continue celebrating into January, y'all. It starts off as ginger beer, takes us to ginger tea, we land on a soft ginger cookie, and we finish off with a ginger biscuit. Caramelly, sweet, crisp, a little bit dark, just a stunning, beautiful, fun fragrance. If you are a ginger lover as much as I am, it gives us all the ginger and it does not hold back. It is sweet, it is caramelly, it is full, it is beautiful, it is light enough that it doesn't feel overwhelming and claustrophobic, but it also is it projects and it performs well enough to work at this time of year. Now, I've heard from a lot of people that they don't get great longevity on this with this fragrance. I have not had that experience at all. I get 6 hours, but it also could be that I spray myself like 30 times because once I start spraying, I can't stop. I just need to keep smelling this nonstop. It's just so perfect. So it could be that I'm choking myself and everybody out, and that's why I get 6 hours, but do like me. Spray 30 times. You're welcome. So I'm gonna cheat for the next one because I could not pick, and we got 3 here, but we mostly have one. There is one favorite that I think works, but I'm gonna give you 2 other options. If you're looking for less expensive, but baked good dessert smelling fragrances that are fire. So let's start off with Vinny Cafe, right? Now, this is a darker take on a lot of these Comme Toi So Pacifique fragrances. A lot of their fragrances read very desserty, very photorealistic in a lot of ways, sweeter fragrances. And one of my favorite, Vinny Banana, so good. Lovely if you love a banana smell and want to smell like a banana, and I do personally. The Vinny Cafe gives us a little bit more darkness, and it also performs better than a lot of their fragrances during the winter because their fragrances perform like trash. They do. I'm just saying, but you can usually pick these up on discount websites for like $25, sometimes $19.99. Top of Jeanique Cafe does perform a lot better than a lot of its counterparts. Lovely, lovely fragrance if you like the mixture of a dark, almost burnt coffee smell with a sort of light, airy vanilla smell. Now, Vanilla Extreme is what it sounds like. It's a lot of different types of vanilla, very sweet, really heavy, a little bit sticky, so pretty. It doesn't last a long time, but you get this sort of burst of happiness right as you spray, because I sprayed Vanilla Extreme almost, you know, choked on it. We here though, y'all, we powering through. This fragrance is very, very sweet, almost cotton candy-esque vanilla smells. Just a really uncomplicated but really happy, joyous, fun fragrance for indoors during the winter. Can this hold up outside? No, obviously not. It can barely hold up for 3 hours long in the summer. Can it hold up in the winter? No. You wear it inside when you're chilling, but it's beautiful. If you want to go outside, you wear a Vanille Cafe. Personally. Now, if you can't find one of these, you don't want to like venture out to discount websites, you can usually find this in Target, in Shoppers, and it is Tonka from Solenotes. No, it is what it sounds like. It is a lighter, texturally lighter Tonka. So instead of giving us creamy, it is giving us like a little bit of an airier Tonka with a lot of spiciness. When I bought this, I thought it was going to be very sweet and bland and straightforward. It's going to be a bedtime scent, but it ended up just being a lot more complex and interesting than I was giving it credit for. There are some warm spices in here with that Tonka. The nuttiness from the Tonka bean is really coming through as well, making this a really great layering fragrance as well as a great standalone fragrance. It is not great for bed because I get distracted wanting to smell myself, and that's not fair to, you know, morning me. But for going out, this is a great cheap option. Filming today has felt a little bit unhinged, but fun, but unhinged, but fun, but a little unhinged. So let's get into the Save and Splurge collection, because I wanted to bring y'all some great winter fragrances at different price points so you have options, right? We're gonna start off with the Save collection. Now, I had promised y'all a Le Monde Gourmand review because I'd gotten 2 of their discovery sets with the 10 ml fragrances to basically get a sense of which of those fragrances I think are full bottle worthy. And one of the fragrances I picked up after trying a bunch of those, which I still will do that video, I'm still gonna do it, y'all, is Chai Epice. No, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, whatever. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but we're gonna go with that. Now, the notes say it is a fake fragrance. That is a lie, right? However, it is a chai smelling fragrance. And what is chai? We get some cardamom in chai. There's ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, sometimes some star anise, some cloves. So those really lovely warm spices make up chai tea. I love me a chai tea latte with a shot of espresso, right? Like for 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening when I'm trying not to drink that much caffeine. whatever. I love the flavor of chai, I love the smell of chai. It kind of reminds me of busy tea in Jamaica, just like less medicinal, but same but different. I love this fragrance. It's just a warm smelling fragrance that is really inexpensive. You can usually find Le Monde Gourmand at like Urban Outfitters. They sell at Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Winners. They're all the place, usually super inexpensive. Now, I know you have seen this fragrance in many a clearance section if you've, checked out a few fragrance clearance sections before, and it is Guess Seductive Red. A really lovely everyday fragrance, bedtime fragrance, sweet, yummy, and very, very cherry. I love this fragrance so much that I wanted to share it with y'all because it is so inexpensive. So sweet, so yummy, so delicious, and perfect for winter because of that texture. So let's talk about what this smells like. This is sweet cherry, almond, vanilla. That is doing most of the work. No, there's a little bit of violet to help create like a cloudiness to the fragrance, help to lift it, make it not feel as heavy, even though it is still very heavy. There is a little bit of pink pepper to help make the fragrance feel a little bit more lively because, again, very heavy, very sweet. It smells like it smells like a cherry drink in a lot of ways, just texturally a lot thicker than that. It is really pretty, really easy to wear, really easy to love if you love a very, very, very sweet fragrance. Now let's get into the lemon pound cake of it all and talk about Lira, one of my favorite winter fragrances. It is thick, heavy vanilla that smells a little bit doughy, and there is this sort of citrus opening that feels a little bit sharp, also a little sweet, helping to make the fragrance feel just a little bit more complex. It is a lemon pound cake in a bottle, very gourmand, very heavy, very, very beautiful. Now, this is a bit of a splurge because y'all know Xerjoff out here charging those racks. They really are. But you can sometimes find their fragrances on discount websites at a fraction of the cost. I got this real cheap, y'all. So just keep an eye out for when they do have those sales. If you are looking to pick up those Xerjoff fragrances, they may have a discounted one available at some time in the future. But this is one of my favorites to go with if you love a heavy, thick, creamy vanilla fragrance that is sort of infused with these really beautiful citrus elements, making it feel a little bit more dynamic and full and beautiful and very, very just baked goods like, then Lira is a wonderful and easy way to go. Love this one. The absolute ultimate winter fragrance for me personally has to be Angel Share by Kilian. Y'all know what this is, but if you don't, let's talk about it. Now, this is a very boozy fragrance, right? We have cognac in here, adding a lot of darkness. It just kind of puts you off kilter a little bit. There are some gourmand elements in here like praline, helping to sweeten everything, make things feel really rich and full. There are some warm spices in here, cinnamon, nutmeg, just making this smell like a Christmas drink, like something you'd make on the stove with cinnamon sticks and cloves, star anise, just on the pot circling, and you're going to add a little bit of liquor to just make it even better. What is, I think, really nice about this fragrance is that it isn't texturally very heavy. It has that sort of a lighter texture to it, but it packs a punch in terms of the notes and the smell itself. This just feels really luxurious. This feels really bougie. You smell expensive as fuck when you wear this. A lovely unisex fragrance, in my opinion. I love when guys wear this fragrance more than I love it on women, to be honest. I love it on me, obviously, but when men wear this fragrance, especially in winter, and they're wearing those like coats covered in this, because there's something about how this interacts with wool. It's a very niche just comment and statement. There is something about how this interacts with wool specifically. My main coat, because I live in Canada, we have multiple different types of coat depending on the level of cold. My main winter coat is a very heavy wool coat, right? And this fragrance drenched on that coat is giving off a different aura I cannot explain, y'all. So if you have a wool coat, spray this down and then report back, because it is so fire. And there are a ton of dupes out there. I will link some down in the comment section. So I didn't mention some of my favorite winter fragrances like Camera and Nebras because I just did an Arabian fragrance video and I didn't want to repeat the exact same fragrances. So like I said, with the Kilian dupes that I will list in the comment section, I will also list some of those Arabian fragrances that are my faves that also work fantastic in the winter time. I'll do that because I'm a giver, y'all. Now, fall fragrances aren't that different from winter ones, so if you enjoyed this video, check out my fall fragrances video for even more ideas about what you could be wearing this season. I focused on different categories in that video. I focused on sweater weather fragrances, pumpkin spice dream fragrances, as well as autumn air fragrances. So a lot more airy stuff is over there, but there is still some great options for the winter season. So I hope you check that out. I will link that video. I'm so appreciative of you being here today, checking this video out, and I hope you come back for the next one by subscribing and turning that bell button on. I would love that for you and for me. Again, I'm Jeanique, your winter wonder, sharing all of my favorite fragrance gems for the winter season, and I hope this is helpful to you, and because of that, you love me more and come back for the next one. Bye.